I've been a doctor since 1999, and that was the first time I'd ever done anything like this before. Let me tell you all what happened. My son and I went to Asheville, North Carolina. I went there for a medical conference. And, it was a cool conference, but we were in Asheville. We're like, okay, we need to check the place out. One day we decided to play hooky for one of the events. Well, truly, we didn't really plan to play hooky. They were going to have a meet and greet after the conference that day. And we're like, okay, we wanted to go to this restaurant, Jerusalem, what it was called. I have his name here. Jerusalem Garden in Asheville. My sister had recommended it. She said it was just the best, like, Middle Eastern food, and we needed to check it out. We were on our way to Jerusalem Garden, and we're like, okay, when we're done, we're going to swing by the hangout meet and greet. They were going to even do karaoke. I love... If y'all ever meet me and we're hanging out, I don't know how to behave. Y'all hear me? I do not know how to act. You give me karaoke, you give me music, I am ready to just go off. Anyway, we were gonna go eat first. So we heading to go eat. And then just got up to the top of the hill near the center of Asheville. And I looked over and I saw this man just laid out on the ground. And his pants were like wet, and his friends were like, there's a blue beer bottle, what looked like a beer bottle beside him. And I was just like, what's going on over there? Anyway, let's just keep it moving. Cross the street. I was like, let's just cross the street. And my son, he's 12. He's like, well, mommy, you're a doctor. Well, he don't talk like that. That would be like a girl. Mommy, you're a doctor. You need to at least check it out. So on the insistence of this 12-year-old boy, I took another look. I'm like, fine. This time, what I saw was them calling, let's just give him a name. I am going to protect the name because I do know his name to protect the innocent or just to protect the man's identity. Well, can we call him, what do you want to call him? Dan? No, let's call him Bill? No. What do you want to call him? Chuck. Let's call him Chuck. They're like, Chuck, wake up, Chuck, wake up. And the people around him looked like they were in absolute distress. All this is happening in seconds. I was just like, okay, something's going on. I dash over there, and one of his friends had his hand, and he had blood all over it. Bill had fallen to the ground and had busted his head. But why did he fall? He literally just was walking forward and just fell over. And we began to check his pulse. He had no pulse. This is what I had to do for the first time as a doctor. I had to do CPR outside of the hospital. No technologist, nobody an anesthesiologist, no nurse, no special medicine. It was just me and my body and a bunch of civilians, none of them with any medical training. And I had to start doing CPR. His family around him looked like they had all come up to Asheville just for a weekend. Yeah, they may have been drinking, but they weren't like sloppy. They weren't drunk or anything. They had maybe, I don't even know I'm just assuming because there was alcohol around. But this man just passed out. Didn't matter. He did not have a pulse. And I was just like, we got to get started. All I'm saying now happened in seconds. All of that just running through my head at once. Was he drinking? What was happening? What's going on? All of that. Bloody hands. Busted his head. He laying there right there in front of me. Seconds. All of it just flashing before me. And I felt his pulse. He had no pulse. And I started pushing on his chest. I did say a quick prayer. I'm not going to lie. Here's the thing. Dr. D Nice, my knees are horrible. Do you hear me? There's no way I could have kneeled on that asphalt. The ambulance would have had to come and cart me away. They would have to lift me off the ground afterwards. But I was just like, I could do it standing up. When I said this was just all flash decisions, and I was just bent over, my knees slightly bent, and started pushing on his chest. Ha, 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 ha. Middle of the street in Asheville, a crowd was gathering. It was like, somebody call 911 now. I didn't hear anybody respond to it. I said it again, call 911 now. We already called them. Yes, good. And we started pushing. Then one of his friends came over. Can I help you? I'm like, I'm good. I can still do it. I was had a lot of energy, and I kept pushing and pushing and pushing on his chest. And then finally I was like, I need some help. I was getting tired. And his friend had never really done CPR before. I had to show him where to place his hands, put his hands right over, and show him how to press with and kind of lean into the press and instruct him on how to give a good chest compression. Here is the part that was interesting. Before we started the chest compression, Chuck was blue. It's been a while since I've seen somebody just blue, like literally blue. I started chest compressions and his face turned back pink and red. That's when I knew we were doing it properly. All this didn't take very long at all. I mean, it was within minutes, the ambulance was there because we're in downtown Asheville. Asheville is a very small town. Even though it's popular, it's still a very small town. They came, they strapped this yellow vest thing on him that was actually looked like it was doing the chest compressions for them. Listen, Dr. D and I's been out of medical school for a long time. I don't work in the ER. I work in a clinic taking care of high blood pressure and diabetes. We don't have all those fancy smancy things that they carry on the ambulance or have in the ER. I had never seen this equipment before is what I'm trying to say. I think it was compression his chest for him. I don't even know what the device was doing because at this time I was just like, the adrenaline was just flowing through my body. They picked him up and took him away. His wife was there. His daughter was witnessing this. They were just losing it. One of his closest friends was there. All of them was there watching all this happen in front of us. After they took him away in the ambulance, there was just a hush around the crowd. Everybody, because everything that I'm describing here, I mean, like literally, this is all about 5 minutes. So many things happen in about 5 minute span, maybe that long. When they took him, his friends, I was just like, I need to get his number. I need to find out what happened. And his friend, I got the number of his friend, the one that I taught how to do chest compressions right there, and the one with the bloody hand. Everything shut down and we left, and we decided, okay, we were still hungry, and we started walking to Jerusalem. What did I say that restaurant was called? Jerusalem Garden. When I tell you, I was under a stupor. I was gone from adrenaline. I didn't even, when I crossed the street, this guy stopped me. It was like, I just saw what was happening. If somebody passes out in front of me, what should I do? I stopped and gave him like a quick CPR-ish lesson, chest compressions are important. Try to go get it CPR certified too, so you feel confident in what you're doing. And, we walked away and left, and I went to Jerusalem Grill. Let me explain. I actually had put some notes in my phone about everything I was feeling, and I'm going to read it to you. Okay. This is what happened. It was last fall. I feel like I want to cry. That's what I put in my phone. When I got to Jerusalem Grill and put my order, I was like, I really wanted to write down all the things I was feeling. I felt like I wanted to cry. there's a lot of energy just running through my body. I didn't know where it was, like pent up energy, and most of it was concentrated in my chest. My hands felt jittery and unsure, like a fork. I couldn't even hold it well. This is all after the event. My brain and my body felt disconnected. I couldn't even think of like when his friend was giving me his number. I couldn't even think well to put it in my phone. It's like my brain and my body were just not connected anymore. I didn't feel hungry. I felt like I couldn't take a full deep breath. I just felt disconnected from myself. And I began to think, like, did I do everything I could have done? And right before I ate at Jerusalem Grill, I did say a prayer for him and his family. So let me tell you what was going on. Oh, I can tell you what I ordered at Jerusalem Grill too. I wrote that down. A chicken gyro with potato and mint sauce, baba ganache, which is eggplant and pita. And it's crazy. On our way back from the restaurant back to our hotel, needless to say, we didn't go to the karaoke thing. On our way back, I remember seeing these green capri pants in a window on display. I didn't even recognize it from the time when I were walking to the restaurant. These for sure would have been pants I would have noticed, but because I was still under the influence of adrenaline, I just didn't even see and the pants when I was going, but when we were coming to the restaurant after the CPR incident. But I saw them when we were going back. Here's the thing, guys. Learn how to do CPR. Don't be afraid to do CPR on somebody anywhere. There's a CPR instructor, and I can't remember his name. I apologize. I'm so sorry for not. It's just right now. As soon as we end the stream, I'm going to remember his name. Anyway, what he says to make it easier, remember, that person is essentially dead, okay? And you are going to be helping to almost bring them back to life. If you think about it that way, without your help, they are going to die. They're on the brink of dying. Do not be afraid to get in there. Do chest compressions. Don't be afraid to worry, oh, well, I'm not going to do no mouth to mouth. Here's the thing. The recent recommendations are chest compressions are the most important thing. If you don't feel like doing mouth to mouth on the person, the chest compressions are going to be the most important thing. You can get one of their family members. If you're in a situation where the family is there, show them how to give an effective breath if you don't want to do mouth to mouth. The Mr. Chuck, we didn't end up having to do mouth to mouth because he did, after a while, take some breaths, and they called it, initially when I went over him, they had what we call like an agonal breathing, where this is a very weird, like you're struggling, you're breathing in agony, agonal breath. And he did start breathing a little bit while we were doing chest compression. Anyway, so here's the thing. I'm going to tell you what was happening to him. I found out later because I got his friend's number, and I texted him to check in with him. He had a blockage of the left main artery of the heart. It is known as the widow maker. Let me see if I could get my... Yes, the widow maker. And what the widowmaker does, because it's one of the main arteries to the heart, when it is blocked, not many people recover from that. But Chuck did, because we started CPR essentially immediately on him. I know I told you all the things. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I keep going? My son saying, go ahead over there. All that was just seconds. There was really minimal to any delay in us starting CPR on him. If somebody's down, As a matter of fact, we're not going to make this a formal CPR lesson because I don't want to give you all incorrect information. Then you go say, Dr. Dina, I said, listen, chest compressions, try to help, check a pulse, take a CPR class. It's going to be important. You can save a life. I promise you. I promise you. Chuck is actually back to work now from the last message I got from his friend. Remember, guys, there's wisdom and there's stupidness. Choose wisdom. And also, show me your brightest, show me your best, show me the latest guru. God's wisdom lets theirs look like stupidness. Okay, what Magic 8 Ball said. CPR, I know how to do it. I never did.